shit, my mic was off that whole time. What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Can you hear me now? Oh shit, I just realized that, man. I had the PCs, it was off and everything. What's good, Derpy? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? How's it been? How's it been like keeping track of scores of stats? How's that been for you, Derpy? How's that been? Let me see. Isn't this still a pre-order? Yeah, it's still a pre-purchase. Pookie, we love you. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, man. 2-0 right now. That's good. That's good. Hey, at least you're on the winning side. At least you're on the winning side. At least you're on the winning side. Have you been watching some 2K stuff recently? This game looks pretty good, man. The game looks pretty good. It looks like we're in for a good year. Honestly, I think we're in for a good year overall. I think it's about to be a fire year. I thought last year was great. I have a feeling this year is about to be even better. But yeah, I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back. We just, we just had to take care of some shit last week. Life was doing its thing, but we're back. We got some stuff to talk about. You know, it's really funny though. I'm watching everything last week, and I'm like, everyone decided to have news. Everyone decided to pop out and start talking last week in the middle of that. So I thought that was really funny. But where should we start? You know what? Let's start with. Is anyone having a better? I mean, I guess better, depending on how you look at it. But is anyone having a better summer than Michael Porter Jr. right now? Oh, you're playing the early access? You pre-ordered it? Because it comes out September 4. How you get the early access? How does one get early access? It don't come out till the 4th. That's in a couple days anyway. Oh, but we're actually, you know what? We'll table that because we're gonna actually talk about 2K in just 1 second. It'll come off of this conversation. It'll come off of this conversation. So, Michael Porter Jr. has been doing rounds. Before we get into some of the comments that he's made, let's get into this one. He was recently working out with Trae Young. I know they go way back to high school, but the $70 version. Let me see. They all $70. The pre-purchase NBA 2K Standard Edition. Oh, I haven't even. Oh no, I haven't even pre-ordered it yet. Actually, I got the. Oh, only the $100 and $150 version. I see. Oh, and play the game now ahead of full release. Copy. Okay, copy. We'll talk about that in just 1 second. So let's take a look at these comments because I thought that this was pretty interesting. To hear from a fellow NBA player.
He's trying to get back to the All-Star game. I'm trying to be my first time All-Star. He's trying to get better than this.
You're averaging 25 plus this year.
Got to.
How many? Come on, man. It's 25 plus easy.
So, and you know, they're doing their workouts. You know, Michael Porter Jr. obviously been known to be a scorer. 25 at this point. Just wait till the 5th. Yeah, I mean that's probably a good call. That's probably a good call. It's probably a good call to just wait till the 5th. But 25 a game? Are they talking 2K? What do you guys think? What do you guys think the chances are that Michael Porter Jr. averages 25 a game in this following season? Now, I got to look at this. Cuz it's not like Cam Thomas disappeared off the face of the planet, right? Like Cam Thomas is still there, good for 20 plus actually. So, you know, I mean, obviously it could you have two guys that get 25 a game on the same roster? Yes, it's possible in this days, in this age of the NBA. But that's a lot of praise from Trae Young. Now, I mean, obviously, you know, there's always banter and people like to talk and bullshit. But let's take a look at Michael Porter Jr.'s numbers to see what he could potentially look like moving forward. So last year, in 33 minutes a game, he averaged 18.2 on 50% shooting from the field and 39% from three. And you know, the 2 years before that, 16.7, 17.4, 29 minutes per game in 22-23, and 31.7 minutes per game in 23-24. So what's his per 36? Yeah, like even last year, his per 36 was 19.4, 19.4 points per game. Here's the reality, right? He played 77 games last year, 18.2 points per game at 33.7 minutes. So that's an additional 7 points per game that you think he's going to get over the course of 77 games. That's 539 more points than he scored last year. Is he gonna get 40 minutes per game? How much did Cam Thomas let's take a look at this. What did the Nets roster looks like? And here we could take a look at this together so y'all don't think I'm capping. So this is Michael Porter Jr.'s per 36. This is his per game. Sorry, this is his per 36. He would essentially be replacing Cam Johnson, who is averaging 31 minutes per game. Dennis Schroeder was averaging 33 at the end. Cam Thomas was averaging 31. So based on these numbers alone, do you think that Michael Porter Jr. is going to be able to get up enough shots in the same amount of time to average 7 more points per game? I doubt it. I do think he probably gets about 20 points per game. 25, I think, is a stretch. Especially as a guy that's not a ball handler, right? He's probably not going to be your primary ball handler. Let me see. What did Mikal Bridges average over there? Is this kind of like a Mikal Bridges situation? He averaged 26 with Brooklyn in 27 games, in 22-23, and then 23-24 and 19.6. See, like, it's not a matter of whether or not Michael Porter Jr. could score 26 points per game over the course of a month, over the course of 2-3 weeks. Possible. But over the course of an entire 82 game season, I think he'll average out to about 20 points per game. That's assuming he shoots at roughly the same clip at 48, 49, 50% and about 39% from three. That's assuming he shoots at roughly the same clip, considering he's going to deal with a lot more attention from the defense. He's not playing next to Jokic anymore, right? For all of, we've heard this before. For all the issues that come with playing with such a ball-dominant player like Jokic, you deal with the opposite, where when you're not next to that player, you're not dealing with as many single coverage situations. If you are positioning to be the number one option on the team, when on the Nuggets there was a big gap between the first and the second option, let alone being the third, fourth option if you're Michael Porter Jr. So making that leap from the third option next to someone like Jokic to the first, second option on the Brooklyn Nets, the amount of attention you're going to get on defense is totally different. So I would expect his shooting percentages to go down, even if his numbers go up. And I think the higher his numbers go up, the lower his percentage will be. So if he does score 25 a game, I would assume that his shooting percentage, at least right now, would be shit. But I could be totally wrong. But if he's putting in the work, we'll see. We'll see if he's putting in that work to be that guy. Now, I wish that was the only thing that came out of these out of the Michael Porter sessions, but he got more. He got more coming. So
if the WNBA Olympic team played the McDonald's boys All-American high school players, it's one of them things, bro, where you can't dance around it, bro. At the end of the day, like, in high school, when I was in high school, it was like grown men, bro. We were grown men pretty much. Like me, Trae Young, DeAndre Ayton, Gary Trent, PJ Washington. Like, if we play the WNBA All-Star team, I mean, that's a no disrespect, bro.
How much?
No disrespect, bro. I'm not even gonna say. Like,
I'm saying them out. I said y'all was gonna
you
win.
think it would be 10?
I think it could be close. Caitlin Clark-Cole, what the?
Nigga.
Who is that?
If the WNBA Olympic team played the McDonald's.
Eighth graders is OD. Why do they let this man talk? Here's the thing, right? Even if you believe that, there's just certain shit you just shouldn't say. There's just certain shit you shouldn't say. Now, I do think there's a level of organized basketball that you gotta consider. But the reality too is, like, Asia Wilson is like your center and she's 6'4". That's a guard. That's a guard. Right? That's literally a guard. And you're talking about a Michael Porter Jr. who's like 6'9", 6'10". DeAndre Ayton 7 foot tall. Trae Young, who's considered small in the NBA, would be one of the bigger players against the WNBA players. So just off size and athleticism alone, I think at least the college team would the best college players put together, because you got to think too, right? Some of these high school guys, they fold. I mean, they fold as grown men, let alone in high school. And don't let some of these women don't let Caitlin Clark cross you at one time with some of these fragile egos these guys got. So he's on a run. Now, this does bring up some more of the topic of the WNBA. Before we get into the more serious conversation, let's start with this right over here.
Or you you satisfied with your rating? Do you have to tell Robbie? They gave you 93 in the rating in terms of scale with that. So, you know,
does that mean something?
That's one of the highest in the game. That's certainly like top 10 with it. So you didn't get a chance. Oh, glad you. Or you said it.
And so there's been a lot of conversation about the WNBA. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know if there's some kind of campaign to try to make these women look bad right now, but there were comments of, let's see if we can find it actually, but there were comments that Angel Reese made about, you know, wanting a standalone game. Let's see. Is this might be fake news, bro. Like, where is this? Where's the quote or anything? All right, so let's just have this conversation. Should the WNBA have their own standalone game right now? I think currently speaking, the answer would be no. There's a level of disconnect between the actual players in the WNBA, you know, having interest and playing the game. I remember Aja Wilson spoke about not really playing. Angel Reese doesn't seem to really have an interest in the game. So if they aren't playing themselves in the game, you can't expect other people to play. It's just a hard sell compared to the NBA players who play the game. They're on the game themselves. They advocate for the game because they play. So it comes from a different place, right? I think the other part is this. And I've said this before. The path to market these women have to be a little bit different. Maybe it's not a 2K game. I remember seeing a statistic that, you know, there are as many female gamers as men when you account mobile app games. Maybe it needs to come in the form of a mobile app game, whether it's something basketball related, something fashion related that appeals to the women, something that the players themselves could get behind and actually get into. Because right now there's a disconnect, and asking people to play a game that they don't play themselves is a hard sell. So I think that's first and foremost. You know, I remember back in playing basketball games, right? There was NBA Live and 2K or whatnot, but before we got to where we are when it comes to video games, there was NBA Street. There were all the different versions of that, right? Backyard basketball, like all of those different games, I believe, had a hand in growing what came to be just 2K sports, right? Or 2K in the basketball space. So I think similarly, something would have to take place in for the WNBA where whether it's a street basketball game, whether it's a like I said, a mobile game, something else that isn't just 2K to then warrant their own game. So I think that's really important. Maybe like a college game. I know college has been like a really big thing as of late. I know that was a thing even back then. Those NCAA games, but maybe it's something along those lines. But to kind of further this conversation, because there's been a lot of talks of the WNBA lately, and I think I need to drink a little bit of water before this one. But the reports are there's a potential that there's a lockout next year for the WNBA. And before we get into that, I want to first lay out some of the nuances that people like to ignore when it comes to this conversation, right? Equal pay and the same revenue split. Those are false, right? WNBA players are not looking to make the same amount of money as NBA guys, nor are they looking for the same revenue split, right? So that is the first thing that we have to take into account, right? Number two, the deadline for the collective bargaining agreement is October 31st. So there is time. And right now, the current fear is if they don't hit that deadline, both sides are going to have to come up with an extension. But the first domino that could fall is the expansion draft, right? There's 2 teams coming into the WNBA next season. That expansion draft could get postponed and maybe potentially canceled because of the negotiations. And if that happens, then maybe they make it into maybe they start the WNBA season next year on time, but those 2 teams won't be a part of it. Right? So that definitely adds, that adds a level to this that makes it more complex because I don't know how that works. Right? Organization that is already invested, that is looking to be, that was a part of the agreement that they would start next year. If that doesn't happen, I don't know what that means. Right? I'll be honest with you. I don't know what that means legally. I don't know what that means in terms of their investment. So that's a gray area, right? So even if they get to the season and it starts, there are still potential problems. Now, obviously, the worst case scenario is they don't get to an agreement and this leaks into next season to the point where games get canceled, they don't play, blah. That's the worst, right? That's the potential worst. Now, the rumor is the wage or the salaries, which currently starts at, I believe, like 77,000 for rookies. The most is about $250,000, right? The new bottom or the new minimum becomes in this new deal that they had allegedly turned down. The new minimum allegedly becomes $250,000, and the new maximum becomes $1 million. Right? And at face value, there's a lot of people that are saying that's stupid because you are getting 4x your money or 4x the amount of money you're making now. Right? You can potentially make 4x the amount of money, which at face value is right. But again, if you look and listen to what they are fighting for, which is a more fair revenue split. Currently, now the reports are they make about 12% of the revenue. I've heard of people talk about, a league that doesn't get paid nearly as much as NBA players like the MLS. They have a 40% revenue split with the league, right? The players do. So here's, just to throw this out there. If the league offers you a max of $1 million, minimum of $250,000, but they're not giving you, let's call it a 35% revenue split, 30% revenue split, and let's say that they're trying to give them 18 to 20, I would be kind of mad too. Because that means there's a lot more money on the table. For you to give us 4 times the money that we're making currently, for you to easily give that to us with the influx of all of the players coming in, that means that you're not giving us the revenue split for a reason, because you're making a lot of money on that back end. That TV deal is not small. So, and again, I think we're speaking to the people that are only looking at the face value dollar amount that they see, that salary, not taking into account the multiplier that is the revenue share. You see, like, you could have a certain salary, but if that revenue split is crazy, you don't even know what type of money that is. And I think that's what they're looking for right now. So, listen, if you're the WNBA, and I got to look at this from both parties, right? If you're the WNBA, you're trying to, one, protect the league, right? I know it's easy to look at them and say you're being selfish, but they are trying to protect the league, because the league needs to keep making money in order to keep progressing, right? If the league isn't making money, how are you going to keep progressing? We back. What's good? W's in the chat. What's good, Elijah? What's good? 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 I'm back, and I kind of got that shit on today too, bro. No joke. No funny shit. I kind of got that shit on today too. No funny shit. Oh man, that's love, bro. That's love. I appreciate you, Elijah. What you think about this little revenue split, or what do you think about this potential lockout for the WNBA next season, Elijah? What do you think about it? I think I'm not so pessimistic, and maybe that's just how I am. I think that this could potentially work if you're the WNBA players, and this is how. Kelsey Plum recently apologized, and let me try to find that actually, because I think I've given her a lot of shit. I've given Kelsey Plum a lot of shit. We're not gonna notice I'm weak. Where is this? Hold on. Where is this? Where the fuck did I find? Is it this one? I think it's this one. I say go ahead, do it. I think it would be really hard for the WNBA to stop at this point, because they have such momentum. Let's see.
Like, what is happening? Like, oh my gosh. It's like, it's a new world we're in. That's, I guess, what I'm saying. What is happening? I know you didn't ask us, even the parlays. I thought a really bad joke.
Basically,
tough one.
Well, let me set it up.
Yeah,
All
go
right,
ahead.
So basically, okay. So what I'm finding is, like, and you just touched on a little bit, like, players have personalities.
Yeah.
Like, it's not always serious all the time, and sadly, like, a sarcastic.
I'm in my zone. I'm feeling it. Stop blowing my buzz. Quit killing it. So by another round, they tried to shut it down about an hour ago, but we still in this bitch. What the fuck?
Sarcastic comment or something that's trying to tell a joke. Like, people can run with it, and there's like another aspect when it's like you never even get a chance to explain it. It's like what are you gonna do? And I know recently for you, at the All-Star game, After you took a couple, crown apples
Yeah.
to the head, which, by the way, crown apple shots, underrated shot.
For sure.
I will take that to the grave.
Love
It
that.
is, yeah, underrated shot. Yeah, it was like a positive, fun all-star game, and you were trying to just make a joke. And it just got twisted.
And I should have, like, hindsight 2020, because of the shirts, because of the fans, like, I should have known it was a way more serious moment than a typical all-star game.
Yeah.
Because I went into that press conference very, like, happy-go-lucky, we won, and then had a great weekend. Like, my family was here. It was just a great time. And so the questions came in, and it was like, CBA, this. And I honestly, Birdie, was like, hey, like, Team Clark, like, they didn't make it to the meeting either. Like, just like making a joke, trying to make the room lighter.
Because they were hungover. That was the joke, yes?
Yeah, even though they called, sorry. I was making a joke that they were hungover, even though our team nickname was hungover.
Yes.
Yes. So it's like, at least we made it.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're all on the same page. We all wore the shirts.
course,
We're all unified. And I think, if anything, I was just more discouraged because I felt like it took away from the moment of what we were trying to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, you don't even get to respond. And if you
Kelsey Plum is a fool who doesn't know what is good. She's not fit to lead anyone. She's going to have that league in a gutter. I will say, though, Elijah, I think we got to let people make mistakes. And I think she, even in that moment, Sue Bird had to help her articulate what she was trying to say, because she just isn't able to articulate it very well. And I said it then, right? My main thing was unity. In all of this, in negotiation, in what's happening right now, it has to be the players versus the league, essentially. That's how it has to look. Whatever disagreements y'all have, y'all got to handle that behind closed doors. In front of the camera, y'all got to stand united as one. You got to be your girlfriend's girl. Like, you got to be a girl's girl. You got to stand up for the other women in this league. And in that moment, she allowed everyone else to create separation. And I think she understands that, right? And I think a lot of these women, this is the first time they have all these cameras on them constantly, all these questions that they're just, let's just call it what it is, they're just not prepared for. And well, if we want a Plum is the one to make a lot of mistakes. So if that's what you want, she's 100% your girl. These girls are just entitled. They make better money than a lot of Americans, but get mad they don't get paid out the wazoo. But again, I think, Elijah, like, it has to come with context, right? It has to come with context. Because they are negotiating, right? So in this negotiation, for example, if we're to believe the reports, right? The reports are the max is $1 million, the minimum is $250,000. In contrast to, what do they make now? Like, I think 50, 70K. I think 70K is their minimum. To 250,000 is their max. So it's roughly 4 times what they're making, right? Currently, their revenue split is about 12%. They're not asking for the 53% that the men have. So if the WNBA comes to you, if the league comes to you with an offer that says $1 million max, $250,000 minimum, but you get 20% revenue split, I would honestly question it also. And more than likely, I would turn it down too. Because there's a reason you're not giving me more of that revenue split. And like I said, maybe their goal is 30, 35. We don't know what it is. A lot of us are speaking on their behalf and just guessing, but we don't know what their goal is, right? If their goal is fuck the salary, we want the revenue split, then you can't get mad at them for their move. They aren't on the same level of professionalism as the men. I can go to the YMCA and the things I won't see in the WA. They're prideful. I can go on trying to like which they should be doing. They're just showing how much of an asshole they are. Again, I think it, like I said, I think they're just unfortunately dealing with it in a time where everything is covered and social media is such a massive thing, as opposed to, you know, the NBA in their 25th season, they were dealing with this with much less media. And when you see the numbers, it's so easy to say y'all are being stupid. But again, we're not in those meetings. We don't know what their actual goals are. Again, if it were me and I see that TV deal that they signed and potentially how much that they're making on profits, then it's not far for me to say I would take less guaranteed money and more of the profit share. But maybe there's a reason why the WNBA isn't taking that. Like you gotta look at it from both sides. I think. Now the other part in it too, right? Why I think this could potentially work for the women is what I just said earlier. If they stand as a united front. See, I don't know if y'all remember, but the lockout was legendary for the men. The lockout where the guys were showing up to different gyms. We saw the Kobe Harden matchup. Like, we saw all of these things during the lockout that made it really legendary. Now, again, the women, I don't think they need to do exactly the same. I think a part of it is going to be going to gyms and having open runs and whatnot. I think that is one aspect of it. But genuinely, I think the other aspect of it is if they are in a lockout, go to every event, go to every gala, go to every concert with the rest of the league. Make content to show how y'all can be profitable if you guys are marketed properly. But that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. I think that's one way that could work. Or the WNBA is just calling their bluff and they're telling them we are the platform, right? There's multiple ways this could work. But I think being a unified front is the only way it works for the WNBA on the player side. And I think we are discounting how much money is coming in for the WNBA, right? The reason they're having these negotiations is because there's a new deal in place and there is an influx of money coming in, right? That's why these discussions are being had. And you got to think, right? If you're the company, I'm a lowball you. Like, if I'm thinking from the company side, I'm going to give you an offer that looks good, but in reality, I'm kind of lowballing you. So they got more to give. And honestly, by October 31st, genuinely, I feel like they'll get to an agreement. I feel like they'll get to one. So we'll see what happens moving forward. Now, we get to the nerdy stuff. We get to that's my best advice for the WNBA is to do what the Ball family did with their reality show, not that low quality streamer. Make their own starting five, Last Dance, etc. But I don't even think it's just like, again, Elijah, I think we're looking at it in just I think we're looking at it in one way. Right? Like, you have to meet the women where they are. Right? They have to make content that caters to women, whether that's the fashion stuff, whatever that is, fitness, health and fitness, like all of those things they could tap into to make themselves more money. And I think it's not just go play basketball, right? And they can tap into so many other ways to make money. And I think if they do that, they'll show the WNBA how valuable they really are. And if the people who invested are finally making good money on their investment, why shouldn't they get paid first? They women have almost no leverage. But again, if you're at the negotiating, like, you got to think, Elijah, you got to think as if you're at the negotiating table. We'll do that, but the NBA is still bigger and NBA still does a better job than them. Yeah, again, I think a lot of people look at it in a box, in a comparison, and I get some things are comparable, but I think they need to treat the WNBA in marketing it as something totally different. Copy Serge Ibaka, he did a cooking show that was pretty successful. I for sure think different types of content. I think we've seen. One thing is for sure that you can't deny. The women that have turned the cameras on to create content, to speak their mind, to in any shape or form, whether you like their content or not, is a positive. It's a positive. When you go to investors and these investors have seen your stuff online, it makes it easier to partner up and invest in you. And I think it's slowly happening. But it's a balance though, right, Elijah? I think there's a lot of women that are doing it on their own. I think the WNBA could also do a better job of doing that for these women, right? It's both, right? It's both. But again, I think like a lot of people are really hard on the players and the league, but it's a learning curve and it's growing pains. So we'll see what happens in a couple years. I don't think we'll get the answers to this. You know what I'm saying? In the next couple months or even in the next year. So let's see. Oh wait, where is this? The fuck? I don't know if y'all saw this online.
We about 6 weeks out, right where I need to be, baby. And we're getting this year.
So, first of all, Jimmy looks like he's already in midseason shape. Draymond is putting that work in. And do these guys really have a legitimate shot at a championship? There's a ton of turmoil that's going on with the Jonathan Kuminga. Steph is about to be like, 36 or 37. Jimmy isn't getting any younger, has had a list of injuries. Draymond has never been that offensive player. There's a lot of question marks with this team, if I'm being honest. I respect the confidence. Draymond thought they were going to win it last year. We saw what happened with that. So, I respect the confidence, especially from the guys that put the work in. But I do think that being the team that didn't make a move is a real problem, right? Teams around you have gotten better. Denver has gotten better. Houston gotten better. Spurs gotten better. Like, teams are getting better. And you know, they had that core. I don't even think Gary Payton is signed. Like, they're missing certain pieces that they had last year. Jonathan Kuminga is about to go out there and pretend like he don't know how to play basketball. I don't know what they're about to do, but I respect the confidence. They have absolutely zero shot. Biggest offseason pump fake of 2025. But this is really what I wanted to talk about, Elijah. This is really what I wanted to talk about. I know y'all see the title, right? I was trying to find the video and I couldn't find it because sure, you could say they got worse. They might have, right? You get a Jonathan Kuminga that's a shell of himself. They're basically playing 3-on-5 for the whole year. Unless Brandon Podziemski shows up and he's 6'6", they're playing 3-on-5 the whole year. My Raptors, dog. You and Black Canadian, man. You and Black Canadian are built different. But I wanted to talk about this because I saw a video. This guy was making content. I saw a video. And he was essentially preaching training like a role player. Because in college, you're going to have so-and-so role. Like he was saying, you got to train and be like a Drew Holiday. And I got to say, I really disagree with him. I really disagree with him. And listen to me close. If you are training in grade school, middle school, and high school to be Draymond Green, to be Patrick Beverly, to be Drew Holiday, guess what? You're not making the fucking league. If you're training to be Draymond Green, if you're in high school trying to be Draymond Green, you will never make it to the NBA. Now, does that mean that learning how to become a role player isn't important? No. But even role players don't make it to the NBA as role players. Right? Yeah. These guys, they don't find out until they're there. Oh, shit, I'm a role player. Oh, fuck. They're over here thinking they Michael Jordan. They get to the team and they're like, hold up. wait a second. Hold. I'm not the best player on the team? And they got to go figure it out from there. But no one shows up saying, I'm going to be Draymond Green. I'm going to be Drew Holiday. I'm going to be Patrick Beverly. No, it don't work like that. It don't work like that, man. Like, here, let me pull up this video because I think this explains it a little bit more.
Crazy is that, like coming out of college, I averaged 23 that year, and so all I knew was scoring the basketball and, playing with pace, playing with speed. And so when I got to the Lakers, I came in, it was lockout season, so the first 35 games, I ain't even suit up. I didn't even suit up.
Damn.
I wore a suit for the first 35 games. And so, we only played 50 games that season.
Right.
Dale Harris got fired and Kurt Rambis took over.
Right.
And he was my workout guy, that whole time while Dale Harris was there. And so the last 15 games, he gave me opportunity to play. And I played well,
right.
But just looking at it, like every day I'm like scoring in practice, I'm doing my thing, never got me on the floor. But just sitting back and just observing and seeing what guys were doing and what I could bring, I said, okay, like D-Fish is He's a good player, solid player, makes open shots, does the right thing, doesn't turn the ball over. But we don't have an energy guy, like a guy could pick up full court, pressure the basketball.
Right.
And so just looking at that and just learning from that instead of, being pissed off and being mad, like just learning, getting better. I seen what they needed. And when I got my opportunity, man, I just picked up. I ain't never been a defensive player. I mean, I can play defense, but like I've always been a scorer, and so to be able to do that and see what we needed and then make that my niche to get on the floor, like that's what I had to do. So I was willing to do it.
You should be.
Look at Duncan Robinson. We should all train to be a complete player, but you should work out to your strengths. Like Patrick Beverly scored 35 a game in high school. Draymond was 18-7 in college. Like this notion that you can train to be a Draymond Green and make the NBA. No, the NBA is a collection of the best players. The NBA is a collection of the best players. They don't find out until the NBA where they really rank amongst everybody. But if you can't stand out around the crowd, you will never make it to the league. I personally don't think you can train to be a role player and make it to the NBA time and again. Are there guys that make it? Absolutely. But if you don't train to be the best, you'll never make it. You know what I think is valuable though, Elijah? Your strengths will most likely be the role you have later. You have to be able to do something well. But this is what it really comes down to, Elijah, right? These role players, these guys like a Draymond Green, like a Patrick Beverly, and I'll pull up a clip of Patrick Beverly. The mental toughness it takes. The mental toughness it takes to go from the 20+ point per game guy from the guy to a bench guy. It takes a lot. And it takes someone with a lot of awareness and a high basketball IQ to be able to assess the team and the game, what the team needs, and for you to develop that talent. Tyronn Lue just said he didn't play defense like that when he came into the NBA. That wasn't his thing, and it turned into his thing in the league. I think that takes special type of people. Because look at OG Anunoby in high school. What you mean? Six, 8. He averaged 21, 9, and 3. $19.8. I mean, again, putting up numbers. Like putting up, like, think about it this way. Think about it this way, right? Think about the Justice League. Think about the Justice League. Everyone is dumb from where they come from. Everyone protects their city from where they come from. Until you get to the actual team and you're like, oh shit, that's Superman. Oh shit, that's Batman. Oh shit, that's Green Lantern. Oh shit, that's Wonder Woman. Like, it's not till you're in with all of the best where, oh shit, you find out where you actually rank. You don't get to that point unless you're the best from where you come from. Like, his game is very role player-esque. Yes, he was probably better than people, but it is a role player type of game. I mean, bro, he was averaging 21. He was averaging 21, 9, and 9. If you're training like Draymond Green, that means in high school, you're scoring 7 points a game with 7 rebounds and 6 assists. You think that's getting you into college in the NBA? I mean, Tyler Hero puts up 20 a game along with some other role players. Think about this, Elijah. I don't give a fuck how good you are on defense. If I'm scouting you and you are averaging 7 and 7, am I really gonna pick you up? Like, let's be honest. Am I really picking you up? That's so cap. That's so cap. That is so cap, bro. Nah. That's so cap. You are not picking up the guy that averages 7 points per game in high school. That's just so cap. 29 and 3.4 blocks. I don't know what type of role player that is, brother. Like, I don't know what role player. Not everyone, but I seen some people score like 10 points and they still playing. And there's some people make it through as exceptions, but if you genuinely believe you could train to be like Patrick Beverley and make it to the NBA, that Patrick Beverley scored 35 a game in high school, bro, in Chicago. Like, I genuinely don't think that's possible. Or not that it's not possible. It's just so unlikely. Now, and when I pull up this Patrick Beverley clip, yes, Patrick Beverley is not a superstar in the league. He's not a great player. He's not considered a great player. But this is a mentality that comes from someone that is a star in the league. Let's take a look at this.
I go overseas to have the same traits that I had in college and high school in the U.S. The Olympic game team. Put the ball in the hole. That's always been my thing, is put the ball in the hole, Pat. Get to the paint, get to the free throw line, put the ball in the hole. Do you? We talking about MVPs and Euro Cup, like, put the ball in the hole. I had to come here and learn a whole fucking new skill, Dre. I didn't play no fucking defense.
Patrick Beverley just said he didn't play no fucking defense.
I didn't play no fucking defense. That's like Steph Curry being a shooter and coming to the league and being the best defensive player in the world.
That's a fact.
I had to learn a whole new trait and had to master that trait. In order for me to be successful, I had to master a trait that I didn't know very little about. So, okay, cool. All right, bet. Okay, cool. No one's picking up 94 feet. Okay, I'm gonna pick up 94 feet. Okay, I'm gonna take that with me. Mr. 94 feet. But now, if I do pick up, I have to whatever I want my title to be, I have to back that up. In order to back that up, I need something solid. What's solid? Awards that come from the NBA, not just what I think, what other people think. And okay, cool. Okay, first team got a couple second teams. Okay, Kawhi, you got defensive player. Yeah, I don't really know nobody that I can just call off my phone and get the. What do I need to do? Ooh, you need to block more shots, man. Okay, and take more charges. Okay, then last year career high steals, top 10 charges, led number 1 guard block shots. Don't make a fucking team, Dre. Now I'm angry. You know what I'm saying? But it comes with it. Okay, go on. That's the whole beauty of it. Let's start this shit. Let's start it from the beginning. Let's get back. Let's wrap it up.
So, Pat also had to go play overseas to play in the NBA. That's what I'm saying, Elijah. That guy scored 35 a game and had to go overseas to play in the NBA. If you are telling me you about to score 4 points a game and you think you about to get a college scholarship, like, you got another thing coming to you. But what I will say is that mentality from Patrick Beverley to not just compete, but to really dissect and analyze the game. He talked about he sacrificed, in this next part, he talks about sacrificing his basketball, his skills, to learn everyone's tendencies, to really, really lock in and learn defense. Right? Like some of those things he was probably doing to be a better offensive player, he's now just translating it to be a better defensive player. Because the hierarchy in the NBA really does exist. And everyone can't be a star. right? Everyone can't be a star. Everyone's a star from where they come from, but when you get there, everyone can't be a star. He had to learn to be a role player. What I'm saying is you can still be the best player on the court while developing yourself to be able to fit in a role. I agree you can do that. You can do that, but that way of, like, you in that process, you're not thinking you're about to be a role player. That's why I said the most valuable thing to develop is that mental toughness, is that basketball IQ, the ability to dissect your game and the game in front of you to figure out how you can be successful. Right? Because all that stuff is nice. If you don't have the mental fortitude to stick this through and figure out how to get on the floor, you're out of the league in 3 to 4 years. And realistically, bro, realistically, we see some stars that got fragile ass egos that crumble. We see it. It happens. Right there, I'm sure there's some role players that's like, God damn, this motherfucker's soft. Like, we gotta coddle him. We gotta keep telling him how good of a player he is. Like, motherfucker, like, like it happens. And I'm sure for the role guy, it's super frustrating. But again, I think it would be very difficult for, if you were to take 100 kids, right, Elijah? If you were to take 100 kids and train all of them to be Draymond and Patrick Beverley, I think you could probably count on one hand how many of those guys could make it to the league. The only thing that would save some of them would be extreme athleticism, something on the page that pops out for you to look past 7 points per game in high school. There would have to be something. Otherwise, I just don't think they would make the league. Again, Draymond was a scorer. He was like 18. Let me pull up Draymond college stats actually. In his final year, 16.2 points per game and 10.6 rebounds. He was on the All-American first team. So, again, if it, and you got to really train to be able to even average that in college. Also, not sure if this helps, but my game sure grew a lot when I threw out starting versus bench guy, star versus role player, scorer versus non-scorers. What do you mean by that? Also, I think, like, realistically too, right? Like, realistically. Like, a lot of guys, when it comes to really learning the intricate parts of the game, a lot of that happens when you're in the league. Up until getting into the league, it's a lot of for yourself. Like, yeah, obviously you're trying to win high school and college and stuff, but a lot of it is to be seen by scouts, by NBA scouts. So, some guys do have to take time in the NBA to learn that, right? To what it really means to be a part of a team. So I do get what you're saying. When I focus on being the best guy I could be, being a superstar in my role. This isn't a full conversation either. Some guys' role is to come in and score, specifically come in and game and get busy. I think the other part too, Elijah, that we haven't really talked about is, when they talk about, how you treat everyone says a lot about you. Like how you treat servers, how you treat helpers in different places, right? I think the same thing could be said about how you treat those guys around you. Like, for example, if you're in high school, right, and you're the scorer of the team, I'm sure there are some instances where you're basically 1v5ing if you're one of these guys, NBA prospects that's scoring 30-something a game, right? I'm sure there are some instances where that happens. More often than not, those guys allow you the ability to score that much and perform at that level. Having that understanding as the star player, I think is so important. Because now it allows you the ability as the quote unquote guy to understand when there's a situation happening and I have to free up my teammate because they've freed me up all game long. Right? Understanding that you can't do this without the other four guys on the floor. Right? Some guys don't learn that right away. There's some guys that learn that in the NBA. I think that is really important. I'll be honest with you. I think that's something I learned through playing Call of Duty specifically. Right? I personally think that's something I learned through playing Call of Duty specifically because I basically mean stop caring about levels and stop caring about perception and think about how, hey, I'm really good at getting downhill. I'm going to hyper focus on that rather than trying to prove I am the best on the floor. I think different things could work for different people. Right? Because like you got to think, Elijah, like when you're a high school guy trying on this circuit, trying to make it to the NBA, right? All of those things matter. The rankings, the perception of all of those things, unfortunately matter. And, maybe your version of being the best player on the floor is different from someone else's. But I think all of these things are a part of it. And honestly, I think that's why it makes it difficult. That's what makes these guys special that make it to the league, right? Because they deal with all of this and somehow make it. Let me see if I can find an example of this, right? I don't. Let me see if I have an example of this in a clip. Like there's a level of doing it all, but there really is a level of trust that you got to have. I think that's the part that's really hard to develop in any form of competition. Right? Especially, honestly, whether you're the guy or not the guy, I think having that level of trust in someone else to make the right play, to make the right decision is probably the hardest part, right? We all would want to have control in something. So, especially when you're the quote unquote best player on the team, that's probably one of the more difficult things to do is to concede and allow someone else to lead, right? When you have all the faith in yourself, you train for that, right? There's connected. Let's see, and it reconnected. Let's look at this one last clip.
I appreciate you guys for making this shit real basketball. So many times we get out here in the summer and we want to do a bunch of shit we're not gonna do. I'm not gonna come out here and do what I'm not gonna do. Tell it. There's no point. So you can talk and be like, yeah. That's never going to force me to get outside of myself. You know what I'm saying? I I started talking to you.
Wait, what you mean?
You started getting the ball. You want to take jump shots and never crash the offensive board again. You're not going to make it shooting jump shots. You're going to make it by hustling and getting offensive rebounds.
Did Justin Jackson have any skills to fall back on? What you mean?
I just beat you in all these sprints. That's bullshit. And it's my first time on the court. Up and down. That's bullshit. You trying to make a team. How you going to make it? If Pascal Siakam is out,
I don't think anything sticks. Make your point. Make your point.
If Fred VanVleet is out ready, you'll never. You know what I'm saying? So we can talk IQ shit all we want, but at the end of the day, motherfuckers gotta play a role in the NBA. Yes. It's 2 motherfuckers on a team that can do what the fuck they want to do, and 13 other motherfuckers they gotta play a role that can do what the fuck they want to do. Everybody else got a role, so you're gonna either master your role or you're gonna get the fuck out. And it's just that simple. And running hard, 2-minute sprint, really? Motherfuckers on the job? That's bullshit.
And you know, I think the reason why Draymond is also like, they probably not beating Steph in sprints. they, you know, Draymond has talked about how insane Steph Curry's workouts are too. I think that's the other part as well. There's a level of earning that spot as the guy, right? You know, Kobe outworking everybody, Jordan outworking everybody, Steph, LeBron, like that's also a common thread of people give you that respect because you earn it, right? There's that aspect of it too. Draymond is always going to get outside of himself. What does that mean? That's the biggest cap. What you mean by that? What was your Justin Jackson point? I don't know if that's cap. He had another, let me see. I think he had another clip as well too. Let's see. What is the biggest cap, Elijah? Let's see. I'm about to do I have to pull up some Justin Jackson clips? My point was going to be Luke Kennard scored 23 in the first quarter. He struggled, but he could fall back on his role, which was scoring. I'm confused as to what you're saying. What do you guys like? Honcho Gomez, Justin Jackson said they're good. They may stick for a while, but being able to hang your hat on one defining thing is a huge. That's why I say you can train to be. But Elijah, I just pulled up 2 examples of guys that are considered to be role players, defensive players, and didn't go into the league as that in Tyronn Lue and Patrick Beverley. What I'm saying is those guys weren't able to adapt, right? There are some guys that are married to that version of them. They're unable to adapt to the situation. They're unable to humble themselves to what's going on around them. You could stick around for a little bit because of your talent, but ultimately when push comes to shove and you gotta make a switch in your style and in your mindset, not everybody could do that. That's why I say it takes a lot to be a Patrick Beverley. Not just all the overseas stuff, but to really humble yourself to be Patrick Beverley. It takes a lot to humble yourself to be Draymond Green. I mean, you're talking about guys that are, you know, player of the years from where they come from their high schools, from college, right? You know, they get into the league, and yes, they train it, but they don't train that until they're in the NBA is what I'm saying, Elijah. Thompson twins may be a perfect example. I wanted necessarily say they train to be stars, but they can hang their hat on their size, athleticism, and IQ. But even that's a cheat code, Elijah. Not everybody can hang their hat on size and athleticism. That's a real big cheat code when people are saying you are the most athletic person I've ever seen. Like that's an example, Elijah, where if they didn't average crazy numbers, they'd probably still make it. Because you see their athleticism, it jumps off the page. You see what I'm trying to say? You see what I'm trying to say? Otherwise, you got to be Michael Jordan from where you come from. Everybody Michael Jordan from where they come from. Right? I genuinely believe that. Everyone is the best from where they come from. And when you get into the NBA and you have to humble yourself and say, oh shit, I'm not the best player in the league. I'm not the best player on this team. Then that path, that road to figure out how to be successful, that's where that starts. And you're able to pull from all those times you were training to be the best player to now be the best player in this role. Elijah, you're repeating what I'm saying. Pat also said, find your role. Not everyone is going to be a scorer. Yes. Yes. After he got to the NBA. Patrick Beverley didn't say that before he got to the NBA. He got that after, is what I'm saying. He's in the EuroLeague. He was the MVP scoring. Let's see. Elijah, you know TJ McConnell scored 34 a game in high school, right? Let's see, Jose Alvarado. Jose Alvarado literally averaged a quadruple double in high school. Bradley Beal also pointed out, not everyone can score. Few people score 20 on college level. What else can you do to impact the game? Elijah, what I'm saying is, this is what I'm, this is, and let me know if you agree with this, right? In order to get eyeballs on you, to get to college, you gotta put up fucking numbers. When the eyeballs are on you, and you're in a better situation with better players, yes, those other things come into play. But how else are you gonna get eyes on you if you're not putting up fucking numbers? Like I'm not. That's the part I'm missing. When guys start out on their journey, they're not starting out to be Patrick Beverley, bro. You know, some people get hit with that harsh reality and you got to adjust. And a lot of times, more often than not, that reality don't set in until you step foot in the NBA. TJ still comes in and scores off the bench like a microwave. And you think if TJ McConnell was an off the bench microwave in high school, he would have made to college or the NBA? That's what I'm saying. He had to score 34 points a game in high school to end up to be the microwave off the bench player in the NBA. Like, let's see. If TJ McConnell we're probably saying the same thing, but I don't think guys should be trying to be a star. Work your strengths and the rest will fall in line. Okay. How about this? I think we are saying the same thing. I'm just trying to have you understand this. If the NBA is a collection of the best players, if you don't train to be the best player, do you think you'll make it? You train to be the best players. TJ McConnell's stats. If you're averaging this in high school off the bench, you're not making it to the league. Like, I'm sorry. This guy had to score 34 points per game to get this role in the NBA. That's all I'm saying. Like, I get that we want to preach this message of, like, you got to be this complete player. You got to be... It sounds nice in theory, Elijah. In reality, it don't play out like that. Everyone is the guy from where they come from, and when we all put everyone in the same room, then we find out who's really who. That's all. That's really what it comes down to. That's how I look at it. Right? Like I said, if you're thinking of like the Justice League or the Avengers, like think of the Avengers. Everyone saves their city from where they come from. But when you get into that room where everyone is the best of the best, you know, everyone gets put in order, right? That's just what it. They're the best players, and you will be, but also be the best version of yourself. I mean, yeah, but that, you know, that's. Scotty currently struggles from trying to be cute and do guard stuff. I am weak. Y'all never fail to bring up the Raptors. I just feel like there's some of these trainers that are just misleading these guys, man. Like, and you know, Draymond in that scenario, right? And in those runs, you know, he's talking about a role because, you know, these guys are actual NBA prospects, right? Or some of those guys are, you know, working their way back into whatever the case might be, right? He's not necessarily talking to guys trying to, on that high school come up. You know, some of those guys are already prospects to be in the league, and he's talking to them as someone in the NBA, right? But Draymond Green coming up, I'm sure had a totally different outlook. He was the best player in a lot of gyms, and he still is good now, and even is a good role player. But if you even double, triple down on what his strengths are, he would be further along. I think that's an NBA thing. I think that's an NBA. If you smell what the Bruce is cooking, Big Brucey was good. I think that's an NBA issue. I think that's like a coaching issue in the NBA. I think contracts have to do with that. You know, that pecking order gets put in line because of the contract. Hello, Jason. Hello, everyone. Been a while. I know, Brucey. What's good? What's good? How you been? How you been? How you been? I'm back. What's good, Pookie? Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back, Derpy. Welcome back. But I do think there's a lot of coaches that don't necessarily put guys at their strengths. I think that's something that we see all the time. I think contracts have to do with that. They have general managers to appease. I think that's when stuff gets a little bit, that's where you get a little bit of a gray area, and that's where you as a player, right, you gotta have the ability to assess that situation and find a way to be successful. Right? Like when Draymond Green got to the Warriors, you know, a lot of people don't talk about how good David Lee was, but David Lee was a bucket. And, you know, Draymond understood, as good as he was in college, he couldn't score with David Lee, so he had to go and do something different. You know, that sounds really simple to do, but in actuality, it's really hard in practice. I am all right. That NBA 2K Finals, who won? Oh, between the 2010s and the 2000s. Let me see what I think I have like another game to run actually of it. I mean, I wasn't here all of last week, so I didn't get a chance to run that last week. I think I still have like a game, but the Team 2010s is up. Team 2010s is beating that ass right now. From what I remember. Which honestly, if you got to think, right? Like Dwight, Bron, Steph, Kawhi, KD. I mean, it really is a tough matchup for 2000s. There's a lot of size and mobility when you think about the 2010 team versus the 2000s team. I mean, KG is very mobile, but when you start throwing Dirk and Tim Duncan at the 4, I feel like the 2010s team can put in lineups that could really take advantage of that. So I think that's what's been happening. But yeah, 2010s is up in that finals matchup. Let me see. Let me see if there's anything big if there's any Shams news. Fuck is that noise? Oh, I think I did see this earlier. Thanasis Antetokounmpo is signing a guaranteed $2.9 million deal to return to Milwaukee. Sources tell ESPN. So Giannis is staying in Milwaukee to start the season. You know, they had to pull out their ace. Milwaukee had to pull out their ace and say, hey, we'll sign you, brother. Hey, if you're Milwaukee, you are throwing away damn near $30 million this year between Damian Lillard to not be on the team and Thanasis to be essentially a cheerleader. I mean, how much money does Milwaukee gotta have? Guys, I think we've all made a mistake. I think we all need to go apply to jobs in Milwaukee because clearly they got cash to throw. Also what I mean is context matters. Scotty Barnes averaged 11.6 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 4.6 assists per game on Monteverde Academy High School team. What was his senior year numbers? And also, like, isn't Scotty Barnes like 6'9"? Deep runs and state played that did get to the next level, even though they may have never had huge numbers. But you're talking about isn't Scotty Barnes like 6'8"? Like he's just a physical specimen. Like again, like you're right. You're right. He didn't put up those numbers, and obviously they looked at the whole picture, but you're also looking at a guy that's 6'7", 6'8", and you're looking at the potential that guy could have at his size. Like the same way Giannis wasn't putting up unbelievable numbers, right, in the Greece league, but you're looking at a guy that's 6'9", 6'11", and you're like, oh shit, we could work with this, right? Those factor in. Let me see. Oh, what do you guys think about this? It was breaking last week. This was the thing too. Malik Beasley is no longer a target of the federal gambling investigation conducted by the Eastern District of New York. His attorney Steve Haney and Mike Schachter told ESPN this potentially reopens free agency for one of the NBA's top shooters. If I'm Malik Beasley, someone owes me money. I was supposed to sign a great contract after this season. Someone owes me money. Now, if you're Malik Beasley, I think you just gotta do what it takes to make it to a team. I don't know if he is willing to not play the beginning of the year to potentially get a better offer. I don't know if that would be the case, but if I'm him, I'd probably go back to Detroit, but I am suing the shit out of somebody. Someone is getting sued, and I got to get my bread. So, I feel bad for Malik Beasley, man. He played his ass off last year, and yeah, Scotty is 6'9", but I do know some guards that average maybe 6'1", 6'3", and got to the next level too. Again, like I said, it happens. Are they in the league? Are they in the league, Elijah, though? Are they in the NBA? It's not impossible, right? Like, it's not completely impossible. But again, Malik is done for unless someone gets desperate. But, like, that's got to be some bullshit, though. Like, I mean, I guess he did have that domestic case too, but like somebody owe me some bread. Whoever, like someone owes me some cash. If I'm Malik Beasley, someone owes me some money. I don't give a fuck. Somebody got to pay up, bro. Like there is absolutely no way I'm not getting compensated for this. Like y'all threw smut on my name and now I can't get a contract. Now I can't get a deal. God, I'm seeing this right now. I feel like playing COD. Let me see. I don't think we got anything else to cover over here. Yeah, I think that's all we got for today, actually, man. This was a great return, an hour and a half back. We yapping. Great yap session. But thank you, man. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys. I know me not being here last week, y'all showed up and still showed love. I really appreciate it, man. I can't thank you guys enough. But before I get out of here, please leave a like. Please leave a like on the video. I really, really appreciate that. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe, leave a comment, all that good stuff. We're trying to push this channel as y'all already know. But thank you guys so much. Elijah, you are the fucking GOAT, man. You've been rocking with me from the jump, man. You are the absolute GOAT. Bruce, I appreciate you, man. Derpy popped in here super early today, man. So thank you guys so much. As always, y'all could have been anywhere on the internet, but y'all were here with me, and I really, 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 really appreciate you guys for that. So thank you so much. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Have a great rest of y'all day, man. Have a good one.